Have you read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad written by Robert T. Kiyosaki? Well, if you want to get rich then, this is an amazing read. It's a story about Robert T. Kiyosaki and how his rich dad inspired him to become rich as well. So let's get started. So Robert had two fathers. While one was a PhD, a highly educated one, the other hardly passed his 8th grade. Now Robert saw both men working hard, being successful, and earning a lot of money. One was perpetually in debt and was always struggling to pay them off, but the other gradually became the richest man in Hawaii. From the beginning, Kiyosaki was confused when he compared both of his fathers. They both had completely different views, making it difficult for Kiyosaki to decide who is right. Neither had achieved success, and both were having financial difficulties because they were still in the early stage of setting their career. Sadly, our schools don't teach financial education, which causes the poor and middle classes to find themselves in huge debts. And if this continues, Medicare and Social Security may run out of funds. Here are 6 principles that Kiyosaki has defined to become rich. Lesson number 1. The rich don't work for money. Here we have two people, the rich dad and the poor dad. Both are working the same shift, earning almost the same amount of money every day. But while the poor dad is trying to make his money, the rich one is looking for assets he can invest in or simply acquire so that they make money for him. The perception of money for both of them is quite different. The poor dad keeps telling him to work hard so that he can find a job in a good, reputable company. Whereas the rich dad says, work hard so that you can acquire a good company, the one you dreamt of working in. As Robert states, there are 2 emotions that controls your life. One is fear, and the other is greed. Once they take over, you might find yourself trapped. Continue to use your intellect, work without getting paid, and your mind will eventually bring forward the methods to make money far above what anyone could ever pay you. You will notice things that others do not. Most people never recognize these opportunities because they are only interested in wealth and security. Lesson number 2. Why teach financial literacy? Coming on to lesson number 2, why is it so important to have financial education? This is because from being a person who is risk-averse, we need to be risk takers and learn to manage the risks effectively. As the poor dad here keeps on telling, don't take risks, the rich dad teaches him to take risks and manage them simultaneously. The reason why people get poor or find themselves drowning in debt is that they don't know the difference between assets and liabilities. Lack of understanding results in them investing in liabilities, which takes money out of your pockets. Assets, on the other hand, will land money in your pockets. As Kiyosaki says, illiteracy, both in words and numbers, is the foundation of financial struggle. Decisions made intelligently will help you make you money, while money made without intelligence will not stay for long. But at the end of the day, the money you make does not count. What's more valuable is the money you save throughout this time, your net worth. So the rich people buy assets. The middle class buys liabilities believing that they are assets. And the poor constantly deal with only expenses. Lesson number 3, mind your own business. This takes us to lesson number 3, mind your own business. While that sounds a little too rude to say, but this is certainly a very important step towards getting rich. When the average person is asked about his business, they usually respond with the job they are currently doing. They are not, however, owners of the company for which they work. They still require their own company. Otherwise, they'll spend their entire lives working for everyone except themselves. That is why it is critical to mind your own business. Financial difficulty results from spending your life putting money into the pockets of others rather than your own. However, if they work for others, they will be reliant on income hikes, a second part-time job, or just extra hours for the current one. So to really earn some money that can secure your future as well, start buying assets, but obviously, you don't have to quit your job and sit there using up all your savings while you establish your own business. Lesson number 4, history of taxes and power of corporations. Moving on to the 4th lesson, history of taxes and power of corporations. We often hear from the poor out there, why don't the rich pay for it? Or, why don't the rich pay more in taxes and give it to the poor? The very wealthy, on the other hand, never pay taxes. People who pay taxes are educated and middle class. Kiyosaki tells how having a normal education and having knowledge about taxation can make such a huge difference. His rich dad knew the history of taxation and the poor dad knew the history of education. The wealthy are not taxed because tax laws assist them in creating jobs and providing housing. As a result, the government is reliant on the middle class for tax revenue. Instead, these people invest in corporations. Their asset generates income for their corporation, which can then be used to generate income for their personal income statement. And the expenses from their personal income statement can be deducted from the corporation's expenses. Even though the people are constantly trying to find ways to tax the wealthy consistently outsmart them. So basically, the business owners who invest in a corporation earn money, spend it, and then pay taxes. while the poor earn money, pay taxes, and spend the remaining. Principle number 5. The rich invent money. As the saying from the book goes, often in the real world, it's not the smart who get ahead, but the bold. In the future, we will see an increase in the number of successful companies formed, as well as an increase in the number of enterprises that fail, downsizing and laying off staff. It is preferable to make millions from the assets you create rather than seeking a raise. This is an excellent time to invest in assets. Failure is something that holds so many people back. Being afraid of failing discourages people to take a step further into making their own money and taking the risk. So what a person needs to do at this point is find an opportunity that no one else has. See with your intellect rather than your eyes. Raise capital, understand how to raise capital outside of a bank, and lastly, organize clever individuals and employ people who are smarter than you. Principle number 6. Work to learn, don't work for money. Here the poor dad pays the whole attention to job security. But for the rich dad, learning has always been the top priority. To earn more money, you need to learn more and acquire an extra set of skills. It's natural to be hesitant about the concept. You might not be enthusiastic to accomplish something you're not passionate about. But keep in mind that you go to the gym not to have fun, but to be healthy and live a long life. While having a good product is essential, learning to sell it is the real art, because sales and marketing are one of the most essential skills that you need. Learn to manage your cash flows, your systems, and your employees. Conclusion. Robert, seeing both of his dads so closely, learned things from both of them. One part of him is a die-hard capitalist who enjoys the game of making money, while the other is a socially conscious teacher who is sincerely worried about the growing disparity between the haves and the have-nots. This increasing gap is principally the result of an outdated educational system. Thank you so much for watching till the end. If you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel on your way out. Also, do hit the bell icon to stay updated for more amazing videos coming your way.